Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole. Happy Monday. Happy Monday to everyone who is tuning in real time, and happy whatever day it is, whatever time it is for you when you tune in on demand. I'm happy that we have the ability with technology to connect when it works for us. I'm very happy to be here today, and I've been thinking about the state that we're in. And in part, it's the individual state. What if you were to take the temperature of the state of your being, what would you say it is? It's a good question and something to contemplate for sure. And then if you look in the bigger picture, the state of humanity, where are we? What's our level of comfort of being, just of being? And I have talked to so many people who are agitated in one way or another. Now, this happens at the end of year. So psychologists will tell you, I don't know the reason. I'm not a psychologist, but I have read about it. That end of year, there's a lot of energy. We do know that the holidays are approaching, and this can be good and bad. It's great for some people to travel to be with family. That is also stressful. Even it can be great and stressful at the same time. In this particular year, with all of the back and forth with the government shutdown and travel being almost completely halted, and now we're limping back to a comfort zone with the economy the way it is, which for some is excellent, for many is terrifying. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of uncertainty. And I'm going to say there probably has always been a lot of uncertainty. This may not be new. It just feels fresh and kind of raw for people who are in it. For those of us who are in it and experiencing challenge and difficulty, often when you're in this state of uncertainty for some reason, emotions run high. People are very short with each other, very judgmental. There's a lot of finger pointing going on. Maybe some of this you have experienced yourself, you have been victim of or perpetrator of. Maybe you have observed it. And guess what? Maybe some of you are so blessed that you don't even really know what I'm talking about. But I'm going to guess that even if it isn't happening to you, you have observed that there's a lot of energy swirling around that has uncertainty in it, that has some discomfort in it. And when that is happening, it can be difficult to be settled. So I spent a lovely evening a couple nights ago with two friends and two relatively new friends. So we know each other in the past few years. And somehow somebody brought up zodiac signs. So I'm going to say I don't know a whole lot about zodiac signs. I know a little bit, but not a whole lot. I do believe that there is some truth to the way that the world moves on its axis and the way that the planets align, that there is an impact to that in terms of how we interact with each other. And probably there is value in understanding that the way that when and where people grew up, were born, has an impact on how they interact in the world. I think that's fair to say. And the reason I'm being a little guarded about this is I know that there are a lot of religious people who think that it's almost like the devil to believe in astrology, and I don't think that. I'm agnostic in that way. I think that we live in a place where, like, there is gravity. That's not something somebody made up. There are planets. We know that when there's a high tide in the ocean, it has an impact not just on the water levels, but on emotion levels. I mean, there are a lot of things that I have observed and read about over the years that seem to be true when you look at different ways of understanding the world, including the universe. So that said, that's a very layperson's uh, attempt to draw some meaning to what I'm about to say. So I was with these two women, and we were talking, and one of them asked me what was my zodiac sign, and so my zodiac sign is Pisces. And based upon what I have read about Pisceans, and also I'm a middle child because to the point of how does the universe work? How did we grow up? Where did we grow up? What are the circumstances of that make us who we are? I think all of it has an impact. And as a middle child, there's definitely an impact. I know many, many, many people who are the middle child who are the mediator, the one who jumps in and try to create peace, who looks to build bridges so people can hold hands. That certainly was a role that I feel like I had growing up, and it is part of what I do in my work. So I do think that is true. As it relates to being Pisces, if you know the sign and the image of the sign, there are two fish that are swimming in opposite directions. They're swimming toward each other, but they're swimming in opposite directions. And what I have read about this zodiac sign is that many people who are Pisceans are highly emotional, very creative, uh, prone to highs and lows, prone to extremes. And I can tell you for a fact that used to be true about me. Uh, I definitely, in my young years, was extremely emotional. And I'm going to say I probably still am. But it is not as noticeable based on all of the tools that I've gained over my life in terms of, am I going to let some external force or even some internal force control me? Or am I going to be able to control myself? And this, by the way, is a daily practice for all of us, I would think, about self control. So when I said about being highly emotional and having the uh, ups and downs that Pisceans are known to have, my friends are like, You seem so calm. You also seem so happy, so bright all the time." And, well, no, I don't think anybody is all the time any particular way, but and I don't pretend to be something that I'm not, but I do make the effort to be positive and even more to stay even, to claim a state of peace as much as possible, to want to be in the space of peace as much as possible, which doesn't mean that it works all the time. People who know me really, really well, I think would say they know that I am emotional, that I can fall into a slump, an emotional slump, that sometimes things really rattle me and it takes a while to pull up out of whatever that is. By the way, I think that's human nature. But it's also very true about my sign and is true about me. The other thing that is true about me is that I've spent more than 30 years practicing meditation and paying attention to the choices before me as to how I am going to react to whatever comes my way. Okay, this is here, this happened, and then what? This happened, and then what? Do I give into it? Do I allow it to take over me? Do I lash out at other people? What do I do in these moments when things happen? And so I'm asking it of you. What do you do? What do you do um, when things happen to you and things happen around you? You may cause a thing to happen. What do you do when something that is unsettling happens? How do you react? Ask yourself that honestly. And let me see, some folks are saying hello. Hello, this is Lou Perry. Um, how are you? And hello to anybody who is signing in. I hope that you are signing in to join in this fellowship. Today, we are talking about cultivating inner peace. And the lead into this is just check in with yourself. How are you doing? How do you feel? What do you do when things happen in your life, to you, around you, with you, because of you, that are unsettling? I want you to really think about it. What do you do? What do you do when somebody says something that hurts your feelings or that angers you? What do you do when you feel unseen, unheard, unvalued? What do you do when you see a situation happening that you think is unfair and action needs to be taken? What do you do in moments that are not comfortable? I really want you to think about, if you can, imagine a particular scenario in your life now, recent past, that was unnerving, that maybe you had an argument with someone, a misunderstanding, you experienced disappointment. What might it be? I'll give you an example of something that is very timely, uh, that perhaps can bring something for you. I teach a class, and a journalism class, and I have a wonderful group of students who are eager to learn and who are excelling at whatever their rate is. Some different from others. Some have been writing for a long time, so their skills are high. Some are struggling a bit, but through the semester, I've seen improvement with all the students, which makes me really excited. And they had done a writing project recently that many of them had done such a good job that I decided to have them read some of their work in class. And what I learned, and maybe it's my naivete, I don't know, what I learned is that several of the students who had this beautiful work that they had written had used AI to write it for them. Well, that's against the ethics and it's against the rules of journalism. And we talk about it all the time. We talk about ethics all the time. I was devastated. I really was, because I've spent so much time with them, and every single week we talk about ethics. And I'm like, how could this happen? Why would you do this to yourself? And at first I was taken aback. Then I was mad. Then I was hurt. Then I felt like I've been wasting my time. Because if you're there to teach, don't you want your students to learn rather than to use technology? Can be good for you, but if you can't learn if you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable and do your work and then get feedback. So I went through a range of emotions. At first, kind of taking it personally. And then I realized, this is not for me to take personally. This is for me to learn and grow and to come back to center. How can I best support my students? It's not by being angry, but I was upset. I was hot. My staff knows I was hot. And I was every emotion. And I processed all of these emotions quickly because I had to react and figure out how to support my team, my students. But in real time, something happened that felt like a betrayal to me and to them, like betraying yourself. And as a teacher, my job is I think, to help my students honor themselves and to do their best and to strive for their best and to learn in as open and comfortable as a way as possible. And when I saw that that wasn't happening for some, not most, but for some, it was hurtful. So what I did, I followed my own directions. First, I wrote a note to them and I didn't send it. I put it aside. I said, let me sleep on this. This is advice I've been giving for my entire career. It was given to me early on. When you are hot, when you are upset, do not send the message. Do not leave the voicemail. Do not call the person. Try not to say anything because usually it's not going to come out well. And very recently, I didn't follow those directions and it did not turn out well. So, like, learn your lesson, girl. And so I sat on it, and the next day, I rewrote the note. It still made all the points, but it, I believe, came from a perspective of compassion and hope and belief in who these young people are and who they can become. Why am I using that example? Because I was not in a space of inner peace when I was upset. I reacted just, within myself and to my very close circle of confidants because I needed to run it by people. Am I overreacting? What do you think about this? The process is what I'm getting at. I had to say it out loud, realize I'm upset, check my emotions, do the deep breathing, meditate, write it down, don't send it, sit on it, be with it again, and find a way to a positive outcome that is still honest. Therefore, today, I feel peaceful about it. That was a process that took a few days. It wasn't instant. It wasn't like, oh, this happened. This is how I should react. It was a process. Cultivating inner peace, I believe, is a process. You have to see whatever is going on that is taking you out of a space of peace. And so back to what happened with my friends, and then we're going to go to the quote. When they said, I don't believe that you have these emotions. I've never seen that. I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, well, I've been practicing meditation for all these years. So I've learned when this happens, I can pull myself back. Yeah, here's the quote. Inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. It's from Pema Chodron. Let me read that to you again. Inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. So at first, my emotions were in charge. This happened, and then I dug deeper. First I thought it was one student, and then I said, "Oh my goodness, it's more than one student? These are smart people. How could they do this to themselves and indignantly, how could they do this to me?" I was hot. My emotions were not under control. And then I sat, I contemplated it. I heard a couple of them responded to me. I heard the why. Usually I'm busy, I didn't have time. Not good excuses. But still, I looked for compassion and then looked for a way forward where I could guide them because that's my job in this role. How can you do whatever your job is, whatever your role is in a situation? How can you find your way back to center so that you can fulfill the responsibilities that are for your life and not create roadkill like we talked about last week? Help people. If you have to help people see that perhaps something that occurred was not the right thing, how can you do it without destroying them? And how can you create space to move forward? I think that's what this notion of cultivating inner peace is. Inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. And look, I want to tell you, I've gotten some notes here from folks. Tamara Simmons, how are you from Metro Atlanta? Thank you for being here today. I don't know who EXO. Hello to that person. I don't know who you are. I can't, but I see you're there. Laura, hello, dear Laura. She says, lately I haven't been the best at using my tools. Thank you for being honest. Many of us have that. But when I focus on my breathing, it is pretty immediately helpful. It is. It's amazing, you guys, to be able to go to find your way back to center with the breath quickly. I think I've told you the story before, but the fashion designer Norma Kamali is a big time meditator and very much involved in mind, body, spirit for a very, very long time. And I interviewed her a couple years ago. And she has a building, I think, on 56th Street where her store is. And she says when things get testy tough, when she's at work and she feels off kilter, she goes in the bathroom and shuts the door and sits on top of the toilet seat. She says for 3 minutes, she does deep breathing. She does a little meditation, breathing and meditation. And in 3 minutes, she changes her state. She said it to me to say to all of us, we don't have an excuse to say, I can't get out of this. I'm stuck. I can't get out of it. I don't know how. Now, I should back up and say some people who are suffering from some kind of mental illness, distress, may need extra support in getting out of it. So I don't want to diminish anybody's situation. But I do want to say there are tools that we can all use that can be helpful to us. And so one of them, this breathing that Laura mentioned, I want us to do a little breathing exercise now. So put your feet flat on the floor, put your thumbs and forefingers together and put them on your knees. And if you'd like, you can close your eyes. You don't have to, but you can if you'd like to close your eyes, you can. And just breathe naturally, but fully, maybe more fully than you normally do. Allow the breath to fill your body. Just breathe. Allow the breath to fill your body. And welcome any discomfort to leave your body. Relax your shoulders. Give yourself permission to let the tension leave your body. Whatever you came to this moment with that was making your shoulders tight, making you breathe shallowly, making you have intense emotions about a person, a situation, a thing, exhale it away. Breathe in light, exhale discomfort. Breathe in support, exhale pain. Breathe in forgiveness, exhale disappointment. Breathe in potential, exhale hatred. Breathe in love and exhale love. Give love back to the universe. Breathe in love, exhale love. Just breathe naturally. And whatever tension you may be feeling for whatever reason, allow it to dissipate. Choose peace over anything or anyone or any situation that may be bothering you at this moment. Just be here, be still, be fully present. Anything that you have to do in 5 minutes, in an hour, in 2 hours, in a week, in a month, let it go. Just be here now. Notice how your breath can deepen when you're not holding on to emotion. Welcome peace in every cell of your being. Breathe in peace. Exhale peace. Inhale peace. Exhale peace. Very gently open your eyes. I want you to notice how you feel right now. How do you feel in your body? Right now, how does your body feel? Do your lungs feel more open? Do you feel any calmer inside of your being? I do. And I was feeling pretty good this morning, but I feel better because I reminded myself of the process that I just went through. And because of having the willingness to go through that process, when I'm with my students tomorrow, I get to come with joy because I processed the experience. I figured out a way forward. I let go of all the negativity. I let go of all of the personal feelings of hurt, anger. I let it go. I let it all go. And what are you left with when you let that emotion go? Peace. I'm not worried about showing up and seeing somebody and what are they going to say. I feel peace. I hope you can find your way to that feeling of peace. It is so powerful. It doesn't matter what's going on, but when you don't, this is the part that I want you to really understand. If you don't work to finding your way to peace, you hold on to all kinds of energy that doesn't serve you. And it creates emotional blocks for you and other people. That intense, unrestrained emotion isn't healthy. And so don't allow your emotions to take over. When you feel it happening, breathe. When you feel it getting the best of you, when you feel yourself getting out of control, and you know how that feels in your body, stop it. You have the power to stop it. And the easiest way to do it is the breath. Conscious breathing, telling yourself, let that go. That's not serving me or anybody else. Let it go. Choose inner peace. Develop it, cultivate it, allow it to be a muscle for good in your being. Sometimes you have to wrestle down the emotions in order to allow peace to fill you. But it works. And if you allow it to work, you will be so happy. I interviewed a couple recently for my wedding book that I'm working on now. And the husband, both of these people had been married before. And it had been some years, some time before they found each other. And the husband said the how he knew that this woman was the woman for him, especially because he wasn't thinking of remarrying. How he knew is that he said, just being around her, I feel peace. He said, to me, she is peace. And he was drawn to that because that's something that's comforting and protective and just he felt fully supported by her love because her love came in the package of peace. walk with peace today. Allow peace to be your motor. Allow peace to be what drives you. Go back to the breath when you don't know how to get where you need to be. Allow yourself to empower peace within you. Cultivate inner peace and see what it feels like. Thank you for being with me today. Thank you for all of you who wrote in. It's always good to see you. Thank you for those of you who are here in the moment and for those who would join later. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day and make it count. Namaste.